So I'm just going to talk to you really quickly today about personal statements and applications. Some of you will have seen this PowerPoint before, but it looks like there's quite a few of you that haven't managed to start or finish a personal statement, so I thought we would just revisit it quickly today. So, starting with destinations, if you're still uncertain about what your destination is going to be, how do you decide what the right destination is for you? So it's looking at university, it's looking at apprenticeships, it's looking at full-time work with some training, it's talking to people, it's talking to your tutors, it's talking to people at home, it's making an appointment and coming and chatting with myself. There is lots of support. We can also refer you guys to Inspira that can talk about a lot of different options as well. You kind of hopefully might have decided by now what your route is going to be, or whether you're going to plan on looking at apprenticeships and university and making the decision once you're holding the offers. Okay. So the two most popular destinations for our sixth formers when they're in year 13 and about to finish is university and apprenticeships. So for university, obviously we have Unifrog. You need to be looking at shortlisting courses and universities. This should be well underway by now. I did ask that personal statements were written and a first draft submitted before we finished for summer. I appreciate we were in lockdown, but we should have been writing that to get some feedback. Your UCAS application, we need to make sure that you have a live application on UCAS and that you've linked to us with the buzzword. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. You need to have your personal statement signed off by your tutor first and then by myself, and then you can edit UCAS by inputting that personal statement, inputting everything else that's on there, the choices, your examination information, and then you will pay and send. When you pay and send, it just comes to me, and then myself or your tutor will write your overall reference. This is using the subject references that have been provided by teachers. You would then arrange an appointment with myself to have the final send off, which we would check again, and we will have a chat about your reference. So for the apprenticeship route, research and decide on the type of apprenticeship you want. This year there has been significantly less apprenticeships out there because of COVID. I don't know what that's going to look like by next year either. Dream placement, I have sent the information out. They are still planning on running dream placements. If you want to do an apprenticeship and you haven't done a dream placement, I would certainly be looking at the email from me and putting an application together. We are still going to ask that you write a personal statement and still get feedback from tutor until that personal statement is in a place where you'll be able to cut and paste it and use it for future applications. You do need to attend any events that are on offer and any in-school workshops. The likelihood is that they'll be virtual, but we will still aim to have a virtual apprenticeship day and the information shared that way as well. You would then complete your application and send it off. If you are Gen 2, that tends to open earlier and earlier every year, so usually November, December time. I would advise that everybody starts to think about creating a portfolio for their interviews, and then you would conduct your research in preparation for those interviews. Employment forces and gap years, individual research is key. Lots of employment forces or other are age specific. There's different application dates. Again, you will need to look into excuse me, what you're actually wanting to do. We're still going to ask that you write a personal statement. We're still going to ask that you write a CV and complete the applications as required. If you are planning on taking a gap year prior to attending university, I would still recommend that you follow the steps for applying to uni, because you can defer for a year, and it means you follow the application process through with school with the support there as well. If you're taking a gap year for another reason, you will still write a personal statement, and I would suggest you have a CV as well. So for personal statements linked to university, you have 4,000 characters within 47 lines. That includes spaces. Okay, it's easier to reduce your statement than to try and find things to add to make up the word count. Please don't submit your personal statement when it's sitting 8,000 characters, because it's not your tutor's job or my job to edit that. I don't mind having a look if it's 5,000 characters because you just desperately don't know which bit to edit out, and we can support with that as well. For apprenticeships, you do usually have a couple of questions, and you usually have between 300 and 600 words to answer them. So when you're writing your personal statements, you might want to write 2 chunks, one based on why you want to do apprenticeships in your experience, and one based on hobbies and interests or outside reading that you've done that would support. If you still have not started a personal statement, have a look at some of the questions below. I'm not going to read them out. You guys can see those. You might want to take your phone out and take a photograph of the screen now. But it just gets you to start thinking about what kind of things that should be included. For university specific, introduction should be approximately 6 lines. Opening sentence, why do you want to study this subject? The academic part should make up the majority of your personal statement. Show us the suitability for the course, what you've done to prepare. The second part within that can be less academic, more work experience, awards that you've maybe won, things like that. Extracurricular, so 10 to 12 lines. What have you done that makes you the best person for that course? What have you done that is a transferable skill that will help you be the best student on the course? Conclusion, about 4 lines, leaving a good final impression. You don't need to put any new information, but you may want to mention career plans that might help you bring everything together towards the end. Why do we push for work experience? Yes, it's difficult during COVID, but we have shared a number of online work experiences that are available. It shows you're informed, it shows you're committed. When you do talk about work experience within your personal statement, how has it affected you? What did you learn? Do you know what I mean? I always wanted to study medicine. I fought for a place on a prestigious work experience. From this, I learned that I definitely wanted to do medicine because I was exposed and got to witness a number of different surgeries, many which were complicated in nature, but highlighted the passion that this was a field that I wanted to move into, obviously worded better than that. Next steps, if you are unsure, if you need support, you need to speak up right now, okay? We are in September. The UCAS, you can start to send your university applications now, so we need to get moving with this. You need to submit your first draft for feedback. It needs to be done on Unifrog, okay? That's the way you will get your feedback. If you don't like the fact that there's 3 boxes on Unifrog, just type everything into one of the boxes. That's absolutely fine. Everybody will be asked to create a personal statement and will be given feedback, okay? It is up to you as the individual to decide on whether you want to use that feedback or not, but the tutors and myself have done this for a long time, and usually our feedback is relatively valid, okay? Subject references and overall references. I'm not going to be chasing your subject references and excuse me, writing your overall references unless I see that you're working as hard to get your side done as well, okay? Can you make sure that you have a live UCAS application? This should have been set up quite a while ago. The buzzword is Westlakes 2021 with a capital W. You need to ensure that you have that. If you are 100% not applying to university, you do not need that. But if you still haven't made up your mind, you need to be logging in and making sure that you're filling the information in on there. So, over the coming weeks, there isn't going to be time within Tutor for you to just spend hours and hours on your personal statements, because obviously we've lost a big block of time. So you're going to need to spend some of that independent study time on your career and on your personal statements and applications. Obviously, you know that we're really tough and tight for time at the minute. If you are really struggling and your tutor cannot support you with any information or any feedback, then you need to let me know and I will find a time that we can sit down together and go through everything. You're not by yourself. I know it's a big deal. People do get quite, excuse me, anxious about it. Don't make this personal statement into a big deal. If you don't like a blank screen, you don't have to start at the beginning. Start in the middle about what you've done in your lessons that support you academically with what you want to do. So we are around, we will help, but we don't know if you don't tell us that you need that support.